Hey, what's up guys? Adam here, and today's question is, how would I invest £1,000? So let's break it down and see what our options are. Now, if I had £1,000 to invest, the very first thing I would do is refer to my goals. What is it that I want to achieve by the end of the year, and how will this money help me get closer to my goal? Now, right off the bat, I believe even before you consider how you're going to invest the money, you first need to ask yourself, do I have a backup plan in case I lose my primary source of income or something catastrophic takes place? Now, we all know just how unstable the year 2020 was and how shaky 2021 could be. We can't say for certain what is around the corner. That is exactly why it is important to have some reserve money available, also known as an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is to be used in, yes, you guessed it, only in emergencies. Now, it is not for you to go out on a spending spree and buy yourself some new clothes, a new pair of trainers, or go on a luxurious holiday. It is your lifeline money to prevent you from going into debt or taking out any personal loans or having to resort to a credit card. I go into more depth about the emergency fund in my Dave Ramsey's video, so be sure to take a look at that in the info card above. Okay, so let's say I already had a £1,000 emergency fund. I need to then also resort to my budget and see if I have any high interest debt. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be watching this video, probably disliking this video, saying, hold on, the title says, how can I invest £1,000, not how I can pay off any debt with £1,000. But you've clicked on this video assuming that at some point you're going to want to have £1,000 or even more to invest. So therefore, I think it's very crucial that we, set you in the best position that you can invest comfortably without having to worry about, say, an emergency fund or any debt. So it's important to know that if we do want to comfortably be able to get into that position, then we need to make sure that we don't have any outstanding personal loan debt, any credit cards, any car finance. And that is why I suggest that if you were to have come into £1,000, before you consider investing, it is better to just try and pay off any debt that you have, even if it's only going to be a small contribution to a larger debt pot. It's better to utilize that money in that way, and believe me, it'll be a lot more efficient in the long term because you won't have to worry about debt harboring your investing progression. Now, if you're not put off by those two leading examples of where we can place £1,000 and you're still watching, thank you, because now we are going to look into some more interesting ways of how we can invest £1,000. So the next avenue we're going to be taking a look at is the stocks and shares ISA. Now, if you've been subscribed to the channel for any period of time now, you will know the stocks and shares ISA is a big favorite around here. And why is it a big favorite, you ask? Well, because of course on this channel, we do like to talk about investing a fair bit. Now, the benefits of being able to invest in a stocks and shares ISA is the ability to be able to invest in the stock market, which usually have potential returns of around about 8% per year. Now, not only do we get that growth, but because the account is actually wrapped up in what's known as an ISA, which is a tax-free, efficient way to save and invest here in the UK, that means both the capital growth and the withdrawals from that stocks and shares ISA are completely tax-free. Now, there are various providers that offer stocks and shares ISA, such as Hargreaves Lansdown, Vanguard, Trading 212, eToro and Freetrade. It really depends on how active or how passive you want to be when it comes to managing your portfolio. And again, I actually go into a lot more detail about ISAs, not just the stocks and shares ISA, but other ISAs in the UK in this video right here. So if you're looking to utilize that £1,000 in an almost completely passive manner, then a stocks and shares ISA is going to be the best vehicle for you. Now, of course, you don't just want to just invest the £1,000 and leave it until kingdom come. You want to make sure you actually make regular contributions so you can get the benefits of compound interest as the market grows over the years. So the next area where I'd invest £1,000 is in myself. The best investment you can really make is within yourself, whether it be through personal development, education, or just simply building on your financial IQ. Because at the end of the day, It's one thing to have your money work for you, but it's another thing to know exactly how your money is working for you. And that is where your financial education really comes into the picture. So the first recommendation that I would make is to take a look into some personal development and financial books. I actually made a video where I showcased my two favorite books, my two favorite financial books, and those were Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, Rich Dad Poor Dad is an infamous book when it comes to both personal development, how to manage money, the real estate market. It covers so many different areas. I highly recommend that you read that book. Now, I actually plan to do a lot more book reviews and suggestions on this channel, but until I get to that point, we take a look in the description down below. I've actually got quite a few books that I personally recommend that you take a look into. Now, if you're looking to specialize in a certain area or take your education further, I would highly recommend that you register for an online course. Now, there are several courses that are available that are completely free. Everywhere from YouTube to LinkedIn Learning to Udemy, you'll find plenty of courses that are available for the area that you're trying to target. However, if you want to go even further than that, maybe you can potentially look into paid courses that are more geared towards a certain niche or are going to give you more of that one-to-one engagement. So the next area where I would invest £1,000 into is to start your own business. Now, if there's something that you're really passionate about, or there's an area that you're really skilled in, then it would be really wise to invest the £1,000 or at least part of it into that business idea. Now, I'm not going to suggest that you completely drop everything that you're currently doing to invest all your time and money into this business idea, because that could be a great deal of risk, but it is definitely a suitable amount of money if you're looking to start a side hustle business, which in the long term could potentially grow into a full-time endeavor. Now, if you're setting up a service-based business such as coaching, copywriting, graphic design, then your service costs are quite low in comparison to somebody who may want to start an e-commerce site where they will have to consider their inventory. Now, if you still want to be in the product selling business, but you only have this £1,000 to invest, then you could actually consider using a drop shipping business where you actually don't have to pay for the stock holding. Now, I talked more about drop shipping businesses on my passive income streams video. So if you want to know more about that, be sure to check that video out. So if you wanted to go down the more passive route, or you just don't have the time to go and start a brand new business, then you can actually purchase an existing business from a site such as Flipper. Now, again, I kind of hinted towards this in my passive income streams video, but you can actually go and buy an existing site, providing you actually do your due diligence on the business to make sure everything is above board. Now, again, because it is a £1,000 investment, you'll definitely be mainly looking towards drop shipping businesses, though you can find some e-commerce businesses that have very low ticket items which you can afford the stock for. But for the £1,000 investment, I would highly recommend you mainly focus on the drop shipping businesses. But with that being said, gone are the days where you need to have tens or even hundreds of thousands of pounds to get a business going. In fact, many successful businesses now have been set up with little to no investment. So having £1,000 to get going with is a pretty strong starting block. So the final avenue that we're going to be taking a look at is package deal sourcing as an entry point to property investing. Now, out of everything on this list, I would say that it's quite difficult to get in the property market with only £1,000, unless, of course, you're investing in REITs, and REITs are something I'll probably cover in a separate video. But unless you're really creative with your method of investing, or unless you're going to partner up with somebody else, it is really difficult to actually get into and own property for £1,000. So that is where deal sourcing comes in. Now, a deal sourcer is essentially someone who searches for potential properties for investors who are either time poor or do not want the hassle of having to go out and negotiate with vendors, but they still want to have a decent return on their money. Now, it's not enough just to go and source out any old property and pass it on to an investor. There needs to be some sort of incentive with the purchase. Maybe the seller or the vendor is trying to make a really quick sale. Let's say, for example, they're at risk of losing their dream home, or they may have just suffered with a divorce. They need to sell out and move on as quickly as possible. In any case, there needs to be some driving factor there to add value to that property in some form or fashion. So oftentimes a deal sourcer would come into that situation and say, look, I have investors who are willing to pay cash for your property. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the time, if anyone is experiencing property at all, knows that it takes a long time for a mortgage application to go through, several months even, before you actually get the final handshake. Whereas people who are buying with cash or people who are going to buy with bridging finance, they're going to be able to purchase that property a lot quicker than with somebody who needs to wait on a mortgage. So what you've essentially done there is you've added £15,000 worth of equity within the property without actually even owning the property at all, because you've been able to negotiate the price down because of your network of built up investors. Now, what you can do here with that information is you can actually package that deal up and then sell that onto an investor at a price that which could be set anywhere between £2,000 and £5,000, which, to be honest, is a healthy income if you're just simply packaging up deals, passing them on without actually owning any property. And in that kind of situation, all parties are essentially happy because the vendor themselves are going to get the money within a very short space of time. You, as the deal sourcer, are going to take your cut for doing the work in the negotiation. And the investor, at the worst case scenario, if you charge £5,000 for that deal, will still have £10,000 of equity to play with. Now, that is one way to source a deal. There are other ways that you can actually take, such as setting up lease option agreements or getting prior approval or planning for certain development, but that kind of goes beyond the scope of this video. So bringing this back then, where does the £1,000 come into play with all of this? Well, first and foremost, you're going to set up a business for this, because essentially it will be a business. You also need to be compliant as well. So there's various different compliance documents that you'll require, as well as licensing. And you also need to register with various different boards as well. You may also want to set up a website so you can actually showcase these deals. So of course you need to pay for hosting as well. So deal sourcing is definitely a unique one on this list, but if you're someone who wants to get into property later down the line, this will be a very good way to actually get your experience out there negotiating prices, talking to estate agents, if you actually want to invest in property yourself further down the line. So guys, that has been my video on some of the ways that I would invest £1,000. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Give me a big like down below. And if you have any ways on how you would invest the £1,000, be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, where we talk about personal finance, investing, or documenting my journey to financial freedom and wealth building, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you get the alert when we upload new videos to this channel. Anyway guys, it's been Adam here. Thank you for watching, take care, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.